Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon, as we're going to have a loaded Tuesday for you today. We're going to get to our Alumni Hall question of the day. We're also going to get into a vibe check of the chat presented by our friends over at Basis Health. We'll have our Who's Our Heavy Hitter presented by HD Roofing Construction, some buy or sell action presented by BetSaracen, and of course talk about all things going on with What to Watch For presented by Bryant Technologies. But we'll talk basketball, football, baseball, pretty much anything and everything we want to talk about. But here we are on a Tuesday, and guys, I know we were talking about it last night, but just hopefully everybody stayed safe as much as possible from last night with the storms that came through Arkansas. It was really hairy in certain parts, certain areas. Tornadoes came through, scary stuff. So hopefully everybody's okay. I know that there's still some damage that's been done, but man, thoughts and prayers to everybody out there in the state of Arkansas that went through that, because that was pretty gnarly last night.
Yeah, it was a wild night, man. It's I don't know. A lot of times we have those storms and everything, and you you don't take it for granted, but you pay attention. You just kind of go on about what you've been doing. But this one was different, man. It was closer, to us in particular than it is in other times. But when you're watching the weather and everything, and they're having to go back and forth because there's 2 or 3 tornadoes on the ground at the same time within a certain radius there, and just looking outside was absolutely insane. I have a grill. Like, my grill is not just like a little, Weber grill or whatever. Like, it's a big hefty one. It's a half smoker, half grill. The thing is freaking heavy. I looked out the window at one point, and the straight line winds were pushing it across the patio back there. And I was like, oh, this ain't good. This ain't good at all. But yeah, it got scary, man. And I saw a lot of pictures of damage and everything like that in some other places. And man, I just hate that for anybody who is impacted by it, and feel fortunate that outside of being temporarily scared, at least on my side of things, we came out pretty okay. So
yeah, man, hope everybody's able to stay safe. Hope everybody has a good little shelter spot in their house. What's y'all's situation like? Because I basically just have a bathroom downstairs that I'm like, this'll do. Do y'all have like some type of little cubby or anything? Like, do y'all have a designated spot?
Dude, I don't have a single interior room that doesn't have windows and stuff. Like, we have one, like the master closet or whatever, but it doesn't do any good. If there's one thing I miss about my house in St. Louis, it was having a big basement, that you could get down into. But yeah, we've got nothing over here. It's a design flaw of these new construction homes by Roush Coleman, at least the one that I got into. Like, there's nowhere to go.
Gotcha. Well, shout out to all the storm chasers last night. I don't know who y'all's go-to is. Zachary Hall is my go-to storm chaser. And he was having to take shelter while he's over here reporting and doing all the stuff and doing all this. He was at his house and he's like, wait a minute, I got to take shelter. Hold on, guys. It's just kind of funny watching him. But shout out to all the people who had boots on the ground and everybody who was helping out last night. I mean, it's never great, but hope everybody was able to, everyone at least listening was able to survive the storm a little bit, not panic too bad. But I'm just glad I kept power as well. I'm sure you guys were counting on my internet being a little shaky today.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going strong so far. And I kind of live in this, it's a 3-story condo, but I always say that because it sounds better than what it is, but it's just very small. But I had a little bit of a closet, about the only place I could get into. And I had to get rowdy in there, which was a chore within itself. Because, there's clothes hanging up in there and he's scared of those. So I had to deal with that. But, when I heard it and it was sounded like a freight train that was coming through, and I was sitting in I saw my entryway and water just came pouring into my entryway. I'm not even sure if it started because of the wind and it just made the openings go. I don't know if it was just an inordinate amount of rain that came in. I don't know, but I got that squared away and taken care of. That was really the only thing that happened. No damage or anything. But yeah, it was scary, man. I mean, we knew that it was going to be bad, but to have it kind of be as close as what it was, and hearing the news and people who were following it saying, coming right towards Baum-Walker Stadium, coming right towards Razorback Stadium, coming right towards downtown Fayetteville. I mean, it's just, which I live close to. It's like, holy crap. Okay, well, I guess this isn't just a thing of like, all right, wait till it passes. Like, no, it's serious. So Yeah, I went and drove around last night, guys, just after the storm settled in to just kind of check out some damage and whatnot. Went to Greenland, went to Elkins, and it's quite a bit of damage. I heard Lincoln got hit. I didn't go out there, but yeah, it was heartbreaking. I think even the River Valley got a lot of it too. So hopefully, again, everybody's doing all right, and we'll keep everybody updated on any ways that can be helped, because I know a lot of people reached out about helping and volunteering or whatever it is. But yeah, it sucks, man. Weather sucks, and I feel like I don't know. Maybe this is just me, guys. I feel like the tornadoes have gotten worse in Arkansas over the past few years than what they were previously. I know you guys haven't lived, in Arkansas your whole lives, but it just, I don't know. It felt like this past like 5 years, the tornadic weather has been so much worse in the state of Arkansas, and I really don't know why.
Yeah, well, where I grew up on the other side of the state, I mean, a tornado was as common as a rainstorm. I mean, it's all the time. But it kind of felt like up here that it, like specifically in Fayetteville, I don't know, it feels like it would just always kind of miss you, or it would spread apart. I don't know if it has something to do with the mountains or whatever. I've heard some people talk about that kind of stuff in the past, but yeah, I mean, I would definitely say so here recently. There's been an uptick in that. Is that global warming? Is that what are we contributing to the natural disasters here, polluting the planet, global warming?
We definitely have had more extreme weather situations in the last decade than I think ever before. But yeah, I grew up like the first 18 years of my life, I was never anywhere near a tornado. Obviously, I grew up in Louisiana where it's hurricane country. I used to get out of school once a year. Every August or September, I could always count on there being at least one day we'd get to get out of school. But I was always never in like the real landing zone for hurricanes because I wasn't directly on the water. I was in the central part of the state. And I felt like that was going to be the case in Fayetteville, where I'm like, I'm not quite in full-on tornado country, but it's certainly ramped up here. There was a tornado in Ruston when I was in college that completely it decimated their baseball park. And so ever since then, which I guess that was about 10 years ago, I've just been a magnet for natural disasters. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's just more me because I was in Jacksonville in that central Arkansas when the tornado hit a couple years ago. I was doing a live show from Guatney Chevrolet, literally like 0.2 miles away from the first tornado. And then this one, maybe it's just following me, I guess. I don't know. But it's crazy. And hopefully, again, everybody's safe. And if you ever need some help, reach out. And, we'll always try to share all the different ways for people to help out, but also people that will need help out. So, again, thoughts and prayers to everybody out there. But we still have a lot to talk about. We'll try to bring some levity and bring some good discussion here on the show today. And as you can see from the title of the show, and I'm sure every one of you know, and the most shocking development, I think that it just shocked the world completely, that it was officially announced that former Razorback guard Boogie Fland has committed to Florida. He will be, of course, joining Xavier Lee down there, and they feel really good about their backcourt and all that good stuff. And according to CBS Sports, which I know you retweeted this, Curtis, I believe it was Matt Norlander, said that his NIL deal was more than $2 million. Source closely told CBS Sports, not $7 million like originally thought, $2 million. And they have been involved in recruiting Fland for nearly a month. So Boogie Fland, Arkansas, they're going to be facing him again next year. And he's going to be a Florida Gator on the defending national championship team.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good for one of your guys to push the defending champs into repeat territory and ahead of you in the pecking order. So, is what it is. Tough situation for Arkansas because of the way that it all went down. It would have been one thing if he would have, I think, declared for the draft and entered the portal at the same time, like some of these other guys have. You could have navigated that a little bit better. But when he just entered the draft and all indications were that he was going to stay in that thing, they moved on with their plans there, which included making sure then that they retained DJ in the backcourt. You had to. And by the time he decided to enter the portal, that was already a done deal. And they were in a situation to where, would it make a whole lot of sense? Probably not. Just I hate to admit it, but Florida's it's a better fit, a better role for him. Arkansas had that. I mean, Arkansas offered more money to Nate Ament than Boogie Fland is getting at Florida. It's like the money wasn't an issue there, but and Cal apparently, according to CBS Sports, has this: once you enter the portal, you're in the portal. There's no coming back type of thing. Which I don't know that I agree with that closed door policy when Adu Theoro is an exact contradictory example of that exact same thing last year, but. is what it is. And Boogie goes to Florida. And if you're expecting Arkansas to replace, him or what he represents or whatever with another impact piece, I would temper those expectations.
Yeah, it's a tough one. So I guess Cal has the actual Sam Pittman policy of like,
That's right.
Once you're in that sucker, you're in. Once your wife says she's entering the portal, she's gone. Get those divorce papers out. But no, yeah, this like you said, John, not the most stunning thing. Like we kind of by this point felt like this is where the winds were heading. It's just sucked this whole process, and you're 100% right, Curtis. Had it just been simply hey, Boogie Fland's going to the draft, and also he's entering the portal. Let's just close the door right away and move on. We would have had all this time and we would have been moved on and it's all fine. But you kind of saw all of us really change our mentality on it. Because when he first enters the draft, that wasn't a surprise at all. We're like, all right, yeah, go to the draft. Cool. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, actually he's entering the portal a little bit. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's not going to the draft. He's taking his name out of the draft. And you're like, wait a minute. And so as all these details started coming out and we started kind of seeing what was actually going to happen, it became harder for us to mentally compartmentalize it and kind of spin this as a thing that we don't care about. And look, I'm not, I don't think it's as simple as like, hey, Boogie's going to go to Florida. He's going to be the player of the year. They're going to win back-to-back national titles, and we're going to be sitting here crying all year. But it is going to suck, and it's a guy that we liked cheering for, and it would have been a lot easier for him to go on and wish him well had he gone to the NBA or gone out of the SEC. And so now as a Hog fan, this is, we talked about it yesterday, there's not a ton of examples of this. Whether it's with Coach John Calipari or just Arkansas. There's not many Arkansas players that transfer out and go to another SEC school and start and have a chance to get drafted. And Boogie kind of would check a lot of those boxes. And so it's kind of unfamiliar territory. I'm sure there are a ton of Hog fans who have already done the mental gymnastics and say, well, we had a log jam in the backcourt anyway. We didn't need him. And look, that's all fine and dandy. We can have those conversations, but it's never a good feeling to see someone that you cheered for, someone you embraced, someone that you kind of viewed as your own, which I'm sure Coach Cal did. And so I'd be interested to see like deep down how Coach Cal really feels about this. But at least for me, it's a tough pill to swallow. But we'll just see what Arkansas does with their roster the rest of the way. But certainly not a development I'm thrilled about at all.
Well, I feel about with Cal and how he probably feels deep down is I'm going to go ahead and say that Arkansas beats Florida in basketball next year. I'm just how he Cal, man, he obsesses over it. He's wanting to do it. He's going to beat them. I don't even know what the schedule looks like. I don't even know if it's going to, I assume it's going to be there in Gainesville since they played in Fayetteville this past year. Who knows, but maybe they play them twice. Don't really know. But either way, that's kind of where my mental gymnastic is as a fan, is just like, well, we'll beat them next year anyways, because why not? But yeah, it was a thing to where I feel like fans, no matter how much you try to embrace fans for impact on what's going to happen, when it still happens, people are going to have their still reactions. Like you could tell them a year from now, something bad's going to happen for Razorback athletics. And you could tell them every single day and they'll be like, okay. But then the day it happens, they're like, oh my goodness gracious, this is awful. This is the worst thing ever. So it doesn't really matter, but it is one of those deals to where, as you said, Andrew, it's unprecedented. And that's what is going to make it really fascinating to see, not that you're going to, fans, we shouldn't obsess over watching Boogie Fland at Florida, just, hoping that he fails and hoping that he sucks. I'm sure some people will, but it's just, usually it feels like it's been on the other side where Arkansas lost a big time recruit out of the state. And that's where their motivation came for that player or anything like that. But to have it kind of be, you're the one losing one of the good player that's going to be on another really good team, and you're going to have to face them. It's just a weird concept that's new. And I think fans should be fine, should be at least, still looking at their team. And, you could say if they're going to be better than next year. I don't think that there's any reason to believe that, or whatever Cal's going to do. I don't know. I have no clue. But again, this was just not surprising at all. It just sucks that it had to be another SEC team. I think that's the thing that most Razorback fans are pretty upset by. Well,
that, and, it would also help if Arkansas had a pulse in the transfer portal for the last month. I mean, I'm just being honest here. If I wound back the clock to the night that Arkansas lost to Texas Tech, and I said, hey, Arkansas is going to get Malik Ewan and Nick Pringle, and then you have your team. I'm not sure a lot of people would have co-signed that or thought that I was speaking reality, or they probably would have called me crazy, whatever. But here we are. So if they had, and I'm not saying it has to be a Boogie Fland type, but it's not, it's more about him going elsewhere than it is him being back at Arkansas. But I do think I would feel differently about it if they would have addressed some of the things that he represents with some proven production. And you've got DJ, and you can be excited about the freshman, and that's okay. But right now Arkansas is very much in a position where they need everything to go right again. They need the freshmen to be ready. They need him to hit. They need these other two guys, Sealy and Rattel, to be ready to contribute right away when you weren't sure that necessarily needed to be the case. You need to make sure that Trevin Brazil can play 35 minutes a game for you, that you have no injuries in your front court, and that Billy Richmond and Carter Knox and these guys do take that leap next season. If all those things happen, Arkansas is going to be very, very, very good. But if one of them doesn't, or if one injury takes place, you're in a really tough spot, and you're pretty vulnerable. So we'll see how the rest of this thing plays out. But, it is what it is. I think it's just a great job on Todd Golden's part of strategic recruiting out of the portal and some home run wins with retention. He's done a great job.
Yeah, I think the shooting aspect, when you talk about, looking at Arkansas's roster and some of the kind of needs that they still have, shooting is the one big thing that jumps out because, I jokingly referenced the logjam in the backcourt and how Hog fans kind of felt like they're set there, which, by the way, not like an unfair stance or anything, but I just look at the roster and I'm like, man, there's just really not a bunch of shooting. We talked the other day about how Boogie, if he were to come back, would probably be the best shooter on this team. And I think you look at the front court as well. And like you said, Curtis, we would feel very differently if we kind of just knew exactly what this roster was going to look like. We knew they were fine in every spot. And so, and we just talked about how there's not a situation with John Calipari as your head coach where you should be like drawing the line at the grocery store and being like, well, we can't get that stuff. We can't get that stuff. We can get this stuff here, but we can't get everything. We're going to have to kind of pick and choose our battles. Like when you have that kind of head coach and that kind of feel like you should be the team that swoops in and pays that money and steals anybody. And I also think from a buzz standpoint, like obviously Boogie Fland entering the portal, he's such a big name. That was notable when it happened. It was notable when he took his name out of the draft. It's notable now that he's committed to Florida. You're seeing Shams, you're seeing all these big accounts tweet about it. And it is just kind of weird to see Arkansas on the outside of that. And like, it doesn't mean Arkansas doesn't have a good team. It doesn't mean that Arkansas hasn't had a good offseason. But in terms of that creating waves, you just feel like Arkansas hasn't been able to do that, which, again, it's not about winning the headlines in the summer, but I do think there's a lot of Hog fans who probably look at this roster, and I know, obviously, Curtis, you agree that you look at this roster, and it's not a bad roster, but it's like, you kind of want to have that overflowing abundance of knowing you're going to be good in a bunch of different areas, knowing that you have backup plans, knowing you have contingencies, and to your point, Arkansas is kind of dependent on these top 6 or 7 guys all being extremely healthy, extremely good, and they also have to add to their versatility. They have to make strides in their games where you look at this roster on paper, and I think if you added Boogie Fland to it, you would kind of have a little bit of that feel. And there would still be some questions we could have about fit and how things are going to work, but from a buzz standpoint, Arkansas probably would have been top 5 in the preseason polls everywhere. Like everyone would have kind of looked at that and gotten on board easily. I don't think Arkansas's roster, like there's no path to them being really good. I think they're, realistically get Carter Knox back, one more addition. Like you're right there where everybody wants you to be. But it just sucks that while you're kind of waiting on the dust to settle on other things, these things don't go your way. And we kind of had some of these conversations back when we didn't know for sure that DJ was coming back, didn't know for sure that Billy was coming back, didn't know for sure that Carter would be coming back and all that. It's just tough because you're in that unknown space. And so it's like we're not even in a position where we should know whether or not they should want Boogie Fland because we don't know what the rest of the roster is going to look like. We don't know how these pieces are going to fit together. And so right now, Hog fans just kind of have to ask themselves some questions, and we'll see if they have any big splashes left in them.
They don't. The roster looks like what it is. That's just where we're at, boys. Sorry.
And I was going to say, like, I will fully admit, because I know we'll get to your chats, folks. I will fully admit I'm someone who enjoys winning off seasons. I know that's not the most important thing, but I love it. And I think just because of last year, which I know it was a new coach and you had to put together a new roster, I just saw, all the transfers coming in from Kentucky. Yeah. Getting the majority of your commits that you had to Kentucky freshmen. Yeah. And then you had, oh my gosh, Nelly Davis. Holy crap. You got Jonas Adu. Like, I was just, wow. Like, everything was just boom, boom, big fireworks and everything. And then this one, I'm not saying that it's bad because you wanted to have retention, which you got. You got some key pieces. So I'm not acting like it's just trash. But as far as the fireworks goes, you had a grand finale last year, and then this year I feel like you're just sitting there holding a sparkler and lighting up a snake. It's like, yeah, okay, but I was wanting the excitement. Like last year was so exciting to have all those new players added, and I'm one of those. And again, if the team wins, then that is all that matters. That's all that should matter. But just for the sake of, I expected it to be like that every single year, where there was going to be some major booms coming into the transfer portal for Arkansas and Cal.
That was is that what you're saying?
What's that?
Some big booms. Boom.
Boom. Yeah, the booms that those recruiting experts put out on Twitter, or bang or whatever they do. But yeah, I was hoping for that, but it hasn't been there. So it's just as you said, Curtis, it is what it is. This is your team. And hopefully he says how much he loves this team. I really hope that comes out, how much he loves this team and this roster.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure he will. I've got what I really need to do, and what I think I'm going to do over Memorial Day weekend is just take a break from the pot at the palace. Like I'm so fatigued of just talking about this same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it's like, it's kind of how it is in the off season. But when you're just literally not doing anything at this point, it's fruitless. You know what I mean? So we've been mixing it up and talking about some different things, but I see in the chat, everybody's asking about Darian Williams. What about Darian Williams? What about Darian Williams? What if you add Darian Williams? You're not adding Darian Williams. You're just not. I would love to get excited about it and have these deep conversations about the fit and, how much it would hurt Trevin Brazil's feelings and everything like that, but it's just not happening. So I'm ready for this thing to be finalized. That way we can start really projecting it out, because like you said, it is still a very good roster. I just think it's very vulnerable. And I'm surprised that a lot of the very clear deficiencies that it had last season are right now going non-addressed. And maybe they do add a piece or something, but it ain't going to be a Darian Williams type. So here we are.
Yeah, I don't know if you're getting the top available power forward to come be Trevin Brazil's backup. I don't know if Darian Williams is going to sign up for that with some of the suitors he has. And you're right, Curtis. There's only so many different ways you can word this roster that hasn't changed much. There's not a ton of new developments to add to it. But going back to the point you were making, John, like last year when Cal put together this roster, not only was there a lot of benefit of the doubt, one, because he's John Calipari, but two, because, he signed on and he got hired in mid-April, kind of had to scramble at the last minute to get all those Kentucky guys, get a couple portal guys, and they kind of pieced it together. And we were like, all right, good roster, shorter rotation than we thought, the shorter roster than we thought, but next year you could really build on that. And I think what you said, Curtis, it's not like it's a bad roster, but no. Did you really build and take it up a notch from what you did last year? Or did you just basically kind of, replace a few things? Like you basically had some guys leave, had some guys come in. It's like you basically treaded water. And who knows? They may be sitting there really looking at it and they have a very clear plan in place and they say, you know what? These pieces are going to fit better than anyone thinks. And we know something they don't. And like, that's all fine and dandy. Like I said, it's not all about winning the offseason, but we just felt like coming off of Sweet 16, coming off of the offseason they had last year, and now that they would have more time to prepare, and you have more retention, by the way. You have a ton of retention, which has been like a word we keep throwing around and a word that Cal uses himself, and that is all great, and we love that. But then you also didn't retain Boogie Fland, which, like, again, you're more than welcome to do, but I just felt like this roster this offseason was set up to be one of those, like, hey, there should be no stone left unturned. There should be no deficiencies. This should be one of the best rosters on paper, and then we'll see how it goes. I feel like it's actually just pretty comparable in terms of just overall potency to the roster they had last year, which we kind of felt going into this offseason it would have a chance to be, like, substantially better.
Yeah, and I tell you, we'll continue to talk about this and get in some other things too as we do a little what to watch for action presented by our friends over at Bryant Technologies, where they're dedicated to delivering that high quality network infrastructure and security camera solutions, where they take pride in their exceptional workmanship and commitment to keeping your business operations seamlessly connected as well as secure. Whether it's structured cabling, security camera installation, digital signage, or TV mounting, Bryant Technologies has you covered, where they service the entire state of Arkansas, as well as all of Arkansas's bordering states. So have Bryant Technology help you with all of your network and security needs. You can give them a call today at 870-883-0330 or check out their website at bryantstechnologies.com. That's Bryant's Technologies with that S in between. Bryantstechnologies.com. It's Bryant Technologies. Quality work guaranteed. So again, we'll get to a lot of your chats, folks, and everything that's going on there. But just a little bit of what to watch. We know that the SEC baseball tournament's officially started up today, and had Alabama and Missouri being played in front of dozens of fans down there in Hoover today. So I know a lot of people will be watching that, but Arkansas doesn't face off in it until Friday, which I know will be exciting to see how all that plays out, and we'll be discussing that a lot too. But yeah, if you want to, hey, listen, it's baseball's baseball. It's SEC baseball. You'll be able to see some of the action there, so you can check that out. And also, I guess with Razorback softball happening this week, and I thought it was interesting, guys, that the softball games aren't on like any channels. It's on the ESPN Plus or the SEC Network Plus. I kind of figured Super Regionals would be, yeah. I was like, SEC Network for baseball tournament. I get it totally, but to have that on the streaming sites for the Super Regionals for softball, I figured it was at least one of them or maybe be on Super SEC Network, but who knows? But either way, that's been announced as what they're going to be having television wise and everything. So it's going to be exciting though to see how it all plays out. And the new format for SEC tournament is fine, right? Like we're fine with it. Did we miss the old way it was done? I think we talked a little bit about it yesterday.
No, I don't miss the old way at all. I'm good. I mean, well, I haven't seen it play out. Maybe I'll see this single elimination play out, and I'm like, this sucks. But the old way was very confusing, and it was always a weird thing that people would get confused by. You get to Saturday, you're in the semis, and you're 2-0, and you lose, and you're going home to a team that's already lost one, and you're like, wait a minute, what? Why am I eliminated? I thought it was double elimination. Oh, wait, no, it's single now. Oh, and now it's back to single. Now it's back to double. It was always a little bit weird, and it was designed for a team, if they were starting on Tuesday or Wednesday, they'd have to play 5, 6, 7 games. I like this better. I like it a lot for Arkansas in their spot where Arkansas could literally just go and play one game. They could play 2 games. At the absolute most, they could play 3. And so I think single elimination is probably the way to go. It's a less confusing format. And honestly, who's going to complain about these 9:30 games on Tuesday? Did y'all see the guy steal the ball from the kids? I'm sure y'all saw that.
Yes.
There's this guy that just I couldn't see exactly if it bounced to him or if he had to ask for somebody, but there was all these kids that ran up trying to get the ball, and this guy just straight up put it in his pocket. He's like 300 pounds there at 9:30 a.m. in Hoover.
I'll show it right here.
Oh yeah, here we go. Look at this guy here.
Look at the kid's face. Like, just make a meme out of that kid, those kids just staring at that old man, just being like, "Hey, man, you gonna give this up to us?" Like, yeah, that was.
He doesn't know the unwritten rules.
Man, I was actually going to bring that up today. Is that the unwritten rule? Is you always got to give it to a kid? Is that the rule?
I would say that is an unwritten rule.
Okay.
Or a female.
Or female, or a hot girl. Yeah.
What if you like pull off one of the greatest catches anyone's ever seen, like bare hand? Like, I feel like you should keep it if you took the brunt of it. Like, if you want to, you can do whatever you want.
Barehand it and you don't spill the beer, you should be able to keep it.
That's what I think. Like,
if you've seen the guys that are holding the baby and then it'll still catch it and stuff like that, like some of that type of situation.
Yeah, I feel like that's the way you do it. But yeah, if you catch it yourself, if you did the work, you get to do whatever you want. If you want to give it away, that's fine. But if you want to keep it, you shouldn't be shamed. But yeah, if it's just you reached your pickle fingers through the net and the guy just handed it to you and you're like sticking it in your pocket, like, come on now.
Well, and also this isn't the type of game where it's like, oh, dude, you can sell that ball. Like if it was like Aaron Judge's 70th home run or something like that, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to keep this ball because I can maybe flip that on eBay for a few thousand. This is a 9:45 a.m. Bama, Missouri SEC tournament foul ball. Like you can toss that ball to a kid. What are you going to do with that baseball?
That's what I think the ultimate question. If hopefully someone finds him and interviews him and finds out, sir, what is it about that baseball that made you have to stick it in your pocket and keep that? What is it about it? Because I know, Andrew, you've been to the SEC tournament too. I think every kid leaves with a foul ball because there's so many freaking games with foul balls. Like everybody's going to get a foul ball. So it's not like, oh, these never happen. I got to keep this one. It's like, there's foul balls like crazy over there.
Honestly, that might be the best part of Hoover is like that little section where those kids are standing and running around. One, there's always like wiffle ball games that break out there. And so like every now and then the camera will just show these kids playing whatever. But it's always cool because like every single foul ball, you just see 12 kids start screaming and clawing and fighting, and you have like Auburn fans fighting South Carolina fans and Tennessee fans. Like it's all just good stuff. It is funny. Just right off the bat, that guy set the tone. He's like, I ain't giving you kids nothing.
Yep. I bet you that was the guy that when he was a kid, he tried to catch a foul ball and some old man was like, nah. And he's like, I'm gonna, that's the way it's done. I'm gonna screw you kids over just like I got screwed over.
Fun fact, I went to the SEC tournament in 2021 with my nephews, and I remember Arkansas was about to warm up and play Ole Miss, and I just caught eye contact with Jalen Battles, who did not know me at this point in time, and I said, hey, Jalen, can you throw me a baseball? He just reaches in the bucket, tosses me a baseball, and I gave it to the kids. Sometimes you just got to ask, you know? If you can just get the attention of anybody, they'll give you one.
Yeah. They have plenty of them. They have plenty of them to go around down there. So, but yeah, we'll be watching the SEC tournament, but we'll go ahead and also get into your chats, folks, presented by our friends at Basis Health, where they're changing the way that healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. A doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. It's Basis Health. They are here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some of your chats because I know a lot of you want to talk some basketball and the Boogie Fland situation and all that good stuff. But Transplanted Texan says, Curtis, can we expect some additional Melo Sanchez-esque players to be added to the roster, or will it remain a sub-15 squad?
I mean, I think they'll fill that thing out similarly to how they did last year. I mean, you got to have practice bodies and scout team guys and everything like that. I am anxious to see if maybe there's a slight uptick in the talent department there. Because I mean, those guys, it's like it's a D2 transfer and a couple guys who didn't even have recruiting profiles, like no disrespect, but that's kind of one way to give yourself a little bit more just in case, emergency wiggle room there is to do a little bit better in that department. Like I'm not saying expect anything crazy, but like we've done some pods on just the amount of top 150 freshmen who are still, or high school seniors who are still available out there. And so maybe they could, nab a guy like that and get an international kid or something, but I don't know. But yeah, they'll fill that out for sure. And it was weird because I feel like that came a little bit late last year, but everything was pushed back some because of, Cal getting there late and the roster trying to put it together and everything. So it was like on into June before we saw that. But I'm sitting here thinking, like, hypothetically, they should be trying to move in onto campus, like this weekend and going into next week. That's usually when they do it. And then they start summer workouts. So maybe by the end of the week or, early next week or something, we get a release and see who those guys are. That's always fun to check out and fun to look at. And hell, Jaden Carletwa, he's coming back, by the way, but he wound up being that guy. Like when things got really dire with injuries and everything and foul trouble, it's like, all right, you're the dude that we're going to put in here for a couple minutes and see what happens. And he's sticking around. So those guys, you never know what kind of role they might play at some point.
Shout out to Chavis, Cash Chavis.
Yeah, man.
Arlington, right? You got big hopes for him?
I do have big hopes for him. Yeah. I led the pod with Cash Chavis actually. Yeah. This morning. He is, listen, if there's one thing we know about him, he will coordinate the vibes in that locker room. So good addition.
Dude, he made for one of the great GIFs, memes, whatever you want to say, during the NCAA tournament run when they just started dancing around. He made his debut on CBS. That was the number one thing, man. Everyone saw him do his thing.
That's probably what got him the offer from UTA.
True.
They're like, hey,
maybe so. This guy.
Yeah, forget the McNeese State, student manager clown. Let's get somebody who actually has the chops to make it on a splash on social media and go viral. Let's see. Also, like Pooh Bear comes in and says, should we have more money to play with since Boogie, Big Z, Nelly Davis, Adu all off the roster? 2 additions is old.
I'll say a couple things to that. To answer your question, yes. But like the freshmen didn't come for free. We know that. Part of retaining the guys that you did retain means they get raises, so like you got some coming off the books, but you're also adding to it from that standpoint. Pringle and Ewan, they obviously cost money as well. But you had all these things in the works. And you knew that you were going to wind up with Ewan and Pringle. Like that was assumed for a while before it was actually announced. And Arkansas still had they had a sizable offer on the table to Keyshawn Hall. they had a sizable offer on the table to Nate Ament. They had a sizable offer ready there for a Adou Thiero if he wanted to come back. And that's with everything that we already know. So there's money there for them to make another move if they feel like they need to or want to, or the right fit, like all those things that we talked about. And Cal said as much last week. He's like, hey, we have the ability to add if we want to. So it's not a matter of do they have the money to do it or not. They certainly do. It's just whether or not they choose to in the end.
Would you say it's fair to say that Carter Knox, once they get that cleared up, because that's another one, like might be the most expensive piece on the roster, all things considered, honestly.
Probably.
Do you think they maybe want to keep some in their back pocket just in case here in the next 3 days, Carter Knox is like, hey, actually I want $4 million, like if it's something like that, where maybe once that Carter Knox domino is like no longer a domino, it's like, okay, now that we know how much everything else costs, we can kind of operate. Same for Adou Thiero, who obviously we don't expect to come back, but I wonder if that's also maybe something in the back of their mind where they're like, hey, like you say, Curtis, Cal is not going to shut the door until you shut it for him. So I wonder if there's literally maybe just 1% of him that's like sitting there like, all right, well, I gotta keep some money left over for Carter. And then even, what if Adou Thiero changes his mind? Like maybe once maybe after that deadline, maybe they're sitting there thinking, all right, this is what we got. This is what we have left. Let's go attack one specific thing.
I think you might be onto something there for sure. I believe that with Carter, like, I mean, the overwhelming expectation from everyone is that he's going to be back, but he's still got a period of time here where he's still doing some pro day stuff. He's still doing, some workouts, with NBA teams and everything like that. So like that minute possibility exists that things could change. And so you're right. And, depending on what he does, that completely changes your outlook. Because if Carter Knox didn't come back, then Darion Williams and like these other guys, you have to go get a guy like that. And so you wait until you know for sure, and then you respond accordingly. I believe that. And then the same thing with Adou, but it's like 99% that he's going to stay in the draft, and he's mocked in the top 35 pretty much everywhere at this point. But if you saw his quote when he was interviewed with media at the combine, what did he say? He said, hey, like that door, it feels pretty much closed for me, but it's not to my people. They need to hear more. They need more assurances and everything like that. So if I'm Cal and I'm hearing that, and we already know that they made an effort to try to get him to come back, then I'd wait a little bit before I made any other moves.
Well, thank God Adou Thiero was so concise with his statement and made it abundantly clear how he felt.
The door's kind of closed, but not really closed. And I've kind of closed it, but my people haven't closed it. And I might close it at the end of the week, and I might not. But
the door is shut, kind of, but it's also not really open that much. Okay, cool. Thank you. But yeah, I'm just really hoping that Cal has, those games that people have where it's like, all right, you got $15. And you what build your roster and your starting five. I hope that's what like is in a big whiteboard in Cal's office of like, all right, like Tyson went in there, is like, all right, here's your $15, Cal. Make sure that you spend it wisely to put this roster together. And then he puts it that way. That's what I hope. I know it's not the case, but that's sometimes how it feels though, as far as, what do you save this money for this? How much are you going to spend on that? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's really what it's become with the current situation with NIL. Also, C Swoosh says people have to stop expecting that college basketball hasn't changed and top players are okay with playing a role.
Wait a minute. Let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So he's saying that we should not expect top players to expect to come in like Darion Williams. We should understand that he's not going to go somewhere where he's going to be a role player. Is that what he's saying?
I think so. Well, first of all, if Darion Williams came, Trevin Brazile would become the role player. Sorry.
Well,
I mean,
I'm with you there.
But yeah, for sure. Again, I just, are we overthinking it here? You know what I mean? Like they had 9 for sure rotation guys last year, and with Knox back, they would have 8. So like, I don't know that they're over flooding here necessarily if they made a big ad. And I understand what you're saying about it, things change and everything like that. A lot of it's about money, but look at Alabama and look at St. John's and look at Kentucky and the amount of really good players that they have on there. Like somebody's got to be the 12th man, and they're signing up to do that because they're getting paid to do it. And those guys are just betting on being able to navigate the locker room and figuring it out. And Arkansas is just taking the opposite approach here. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes in these discussions, I feel like I'm talking about an Eric Musselman team, and he's already got his 13 scholarship guys, but now we're going to pay somebody NIL because we got to have one more and then they'll figure it out. No, we're just talking about having 9 like you did last year. Like it's kind of, man, it's really been blowing me away a little bit how much pushback there is from some folks on that. Just, we all thought that they were going to get more depth, you know what I mean, than they had last year. We're just asking them to get the same amount, kind of, with really good players. That's all. But I don't know.
I'm the same way. I think back to all the discussions we had on Inside Arkansas Live, and I know you talked about it at Pot at the Palace, Curtis, of just, oh man, never do this again. Don't do this whole short rotation thing because of the injuries and all that stuff. And I honestly thought, I was like, okay, well, we won't have to worry about that because that was a problem. But then it's like, okay, now it doesn't. Now it seems like it's even more of a problem now.
There were 2 things that we said that we did not expect to happen. I said there's no way John Calipari at the end of this cycle is just going to keep money in his pocket and like not spend that money somewhere, and that might happen. I also said there's no way they're going to have they're only going to have 10 scholarship guys, and that might happen again. They might be doing 2 things that I honestly just did not expect, and that kind of goes back to the point of, we went into the offseason expecting them to build on the roster, like build on top of it. And when it really is just kind of replacing it.
It could very easily kind of work out similarly. Well, I mean, I hope they have a better regular season. I mean, avoid that 0-5 start, like all those things, but it could work out to where, the dominoes fall the right way this time. And you make another second weekend. Hell, they were a free throw or whatever away from the Elite Eight. All that could happen for sure. I mean, like the roster as it's constructed with quarterbacks good enough. It's just, I don't know. It's just leaving it to chance when you don't have to. That's all.
I know about postseason. That's all that matters. I agree. But I don't know what I'll do if I see a Razorback basketball team start like 5-1 in SEC play. I'll be like, I don't like this.
Crazy.
I won't like it because apparently they have to start poorly because that always equates to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. It's like, what if they did? What if they started 5-1 SEC play, number 1 in the SEC in the standings? I'm going to be like, no, I should like this, but I don't. This is going to be a weird thing. It's like, this is possible.
So if they just flip it, like they did the football schedule, like if they just flip basketball this year, then you would open with Tennessee at home. Then you'd have to go on the road to Ole Miss and Florida, I think is how that would work. And so,
Yeah.
Yeah, that would then what would happen, John? They'd start 5-1, and then they would lose their last 2 games, and people would say they peaked too early.
Yep, yeah. True.
Maybe that's what we're due for, is a Razorback basketball team that is good early and bad late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just again, I'm never going to complain because you've been to the Sweet 16 4 out of the last 5 years, so I'm not going to complain. But at the same time, it's just I would like to enjoy the month of January in basketball. Just once, I'd like to just enjoy my time. Be like, oh, Arkansas's got a game against so-and-so. Dubs, 23-point win at home. What a great day. I just want that. Please. That's all I ask. So, all right. We'll get to more of your chats as the show goes on, folks, because I know we got a lot to get to. But I did want to bring this up because we'll have heavy hitters later. But your Alumni Hall question of the day presented by our friends over at Alumni Hall. It is your ultimate Razorback shopping experience. They have all the greatest Razorback apparel you could possibly want, possibly ask for. You can go and shop them online at InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall, or you can go visit them in store, 3417 North College Avenue in Fayetteville. But no matter what it is, they have all the Razorback apparel for the Razorback softball team, baseball, summer wear, high-end stuff, hats, shirts, polos, anything and everything you could possibly want. It's there at our friends at Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. But as was mentioned yesterday, a lot of awards came in for the Razorback baseball team, as they had a lot of first teamers in the all SEC, a second teamer. But the biggest one was they have the SEC Player of the Year with Wehiva Aloy winning it. It's crazy because it's only the second time a Razorback has won SEC Player of the Year. Of course, Andrew Benintendi winning it the first time around in 2015. But I wanted to ask the question, is him being an SEC all-time player or SEC Player of the Year and being in rare company, where does he rank right now among all-time Razorbacks? And I put it the options like this. Is he a top 3 player, a top 5 player, a top 10 player, top 15 player? It doesn't matter where exactly, but just is he in that echelon? And as of right now, guys, 45% of you say he is a top 5 player. Do you agree with that?
How many people said top 3?
21% said top 3.
I think I'm going to go top 5. Him and Benintendi is an interesting comparison because they both will finish their Razorback career with 2 years. And if you look at the numbers in those 2 years, Wehiva blows them out of the water. Now, Benintendi, as a true freshman, hit like 275 with 1 home run or something like that, and then exploded as a sophomore. I would still give Benny the nod over Wehiva. One, because he won the Golden Spikes, which, by the way, Wehiva has a very real chance to do. Like, that is a very real possibility that he wins it. And hey, if he ends up winning it, maybe I'll alter my answer a little bit. I'm going to give Benintendi the nod only because he was just surrounded by a worse team and pretty much carried that team to Omaha, and he was like the only guy on that team. Wehiva, obviously, it's not his fault that he has better teammates, but I feel like with that Benintendi Arkansas team in 2015, the numbers he put up, knowing that he was the only threat on the lineup, no disrespect to Tyler Spoon, no disrespect to Joe Serrano, great community men of faith, men of character. They are not the same as Wehiva Aloy and Brent Iredale and Cam Kojal and all these guys that are also first-team All-SEC, Charles Davalon with them. And so I think that kind of helps Wehiva. Statistically, though, he's got a very real case. I mean, we've said he's the best shortstop in school history. I would probably throw Kevin Kopps over him as well. Like, I just think that season was pretty unreal. I would also throw Hagen Smith. When you just add in the full career, 3 years as a Hog, made a trip to Omaha, SEC Pitcher of the Year, all this stuff. But I think Wehiva's in that 3 to 5 range.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I'd probably do top 5 just because of where he's at. But let me throw a wrench in there. If he wins the College World Series, does that change things? If they win the College World Series this year, does that change things?
Yes, it does. I think we need to normalize the concept of changing our mind when the circumstances change. And so, yeah, I mean, and look, he like I said, he has a very real chance to win the Golden Spikes. We'll see if he ends up getting that nod. But yeah, if he goes on a tear down the stretch, I mean, hey, that's what defines your legacy. A lot of these guys that we talk about, like Benintendi, part of why I listed him was because he carried a bad team to Omaha. And so if Wehiva goes to Omaha and dominates there and wins the College World Series, yeah, there's kind of a path to him being like leaving Arkansas the best player in school history. Like that, there really is a path to that. But when you get into that top 3, top 5, there's not a ton of separation at all. And so, yeah, I think that I would probably change my mind a little bit.
I really don't like the people that 7% of you that said top 15. What are you doing? What are you doing here? Top 15, 7%. Come on, you guys are crazy out there. But
I don't know if you could find 10 like across SEC history, bro. It's pretty tough. I don't think Arkansas had 10 better players.
Yeah, well, that's probably just the olds have been like, man, don't you remember Jess Todd? It's like, yes, Jess Todd was great, but let's just put things into perspective here a little bit. So we'll have who our heavy hitters are here in just a little bit too. But again, back to a few more of your chats as well. Let's see. You have the C swoosh guy again. Is it CS whoosh? C swoosh? Swoosh? I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Those schools Curtis mentioned as depth, their player leaving due to being recruited over, i.e. Kentucky's own leading scorer in high school history, Travis Perry.
I was hearing you out, man, until you used Travis Perry as your damn example.
I had to think about that because I'm like, oh, that guy. Oh, okay. Wow. Right.
Should we cite Lane Taylor as a reasoning why Arkansas basketball is cooked because they didn't retain the highest scoring Arkansas basketball player ever?
Oh,
I was on board, but
yeah.
teams have players on their roster. I mean, it's unless basketball changed and I just missed it. Like there's a reason that you have the amount of scholarships you have, and sometimes people leave 1 or maybe 2 open, but you usually field enough of a roster to practice and everything like that. I mean, it's okay to do that, but feel however you want.
I wanted to also bring this one up. Sweet Arkansas gal talking about the foul ball thing. Says my nephew has every home run ball he ever hit. He was moving. Aunt Jane, you want my box of balls? He still has them. All right. I have questions as to why and how many home runs did he hit?
I was about to say that's a
did he have
praying more than 2?
Yeah. Well, I was like, did he have like a retriever that ran out there and did it for him? Like, I don't really know, but yeah. Well, that's good. But hopefully, some chubby old man didn't try to steal him from him. Let's see. Also, the Peaks. I hope that's you and your lovely wife in there. Else, that's weird if it's just a random couple. But what is considered acceptable for Cal and the team in year 2? Sweet 16 or above.
Yeah. I mean, I think you need to have more regular season success. Sub 500, 10 seed, whatever in the SEC. I think it needs to be better than that, honestly. But then, yeah, I mean, you get back to the NCAA tournament, don't lose the first game. Honestly, my expectation all along was that you would have a roster that could compete for a Final Four after the first year. I think that should be the bare minimum expectation. Could this one? Maybe. I mean, maybe it could. I think they're a piece away from really, really selling me on that. But it's hard for me just knowing how the tournament is, man. Like, it's just so. I do the Eric Musselman thing. It's so hard to win a game, just one game in the tournament. It's so matchup dependent and everything that it's hard to be like, it's Final Four or bust. But yeah, you can't do the thing where Cal gets to the tournament and gets popped by a mid-major in the first round. Like if they only won one game and got beaten in the round of 32 or whatever, would that be disappointing? Yeah, but would it be like, this just unacceptable, it can't happen? I don't think so, personally.
Yeah, I think they're going to start throwing tomatoes at me here because I think my answer differs from a lot of people because we throw around that term. You said unacceptable. We throw around unacceptable a lot, and we accept a lot of unacceptable stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's been a lot of seasons like, what's our expectation? Now, obviously, that's a different thing, and we can talk about that. But in terms of like what is acceptable, like when we're saying what would be unacceptable? Like, does that mean we're firing Cal after the year? Like we're really having that conversation? Like,
yeah, we probably need to figure out that. You're right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because let me just throw this hypothetical out there, Curtis. Say Arkansas has a year where they have more regular season success, and they are a 7 or an 8 seed in the tournament, and then they lose their first game to the 9 or 10 seed. Obviously, we'd be very disappointed because, like you said, we kind of went in thinking, hey, this is a potential Final Four roster. Is that unacceptable to the point where we're like what would we really do? You know what I mean? Like, we'd be pissed, but like, unacceptable? I don't
Better
know.
not happen again, mister.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, and that thing is like saying, oh, he froze on us. So saying acceptable versus unacceptable, to me at least, unacceptable means like disaster area. You go like a Missouri season 2 years ago, they go over like that. That's unacceptable. Cannot happen. Will not happen. But like, kind of the example you brought up, Andrew, of like, your better regular season, but you lose in the first round. To me, that's a bad year. I don't consider it unacceptable. It's a bad year. And it's like, you can't do that. That doesn't need to happen type of thing.
That's kind of where I'm at, where I'm like, yeah, that would be bad. We'd be all disappointed. We'd be annoyed. And we'd enter the offseason being like, hey, these are some questions we need to answer. We got to show up. But like unacceptable, like, I don't know. We accept a lot of crap as Razorback fans.
Was Eric Musselman's last year unacceptable?
Nope.
Like with the expectations that you had coming into it and the way that it all went down, was that unacceptable, or was that it can't happen again, dude? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they weren't going to fire him, so
that's a good point. We were if Eric Musselman would have run it back, we would have accepted the hell out of that. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
Yeah. Well, and it is weird too, and I know we know this, but just put in perspective, Arkansas has had 3 straight losing seasons in the SEC. How insane is that? It doesn't feel like they have, but they have had 3 straight losing seasons in the SEC where you play 18 freaking games. Like, it's craziness. Just get over 500 in the SEC. Good grief, man.
Can we agree, though? They missed the tournament? Unacceptable. That is unacceptable if they missed the tournament.
Yeah.
That'd be really bad. That would be really bad for sure. Are you guys with me? Am I putting too much stock into the regular season thing? It's just like, I don't know.
No. I'm with you.
Don't go below 500 in the freaking SEC for a change. Yeah.
Right. I don't want the up and down.
Yeah. I'm not saying like, oh, they need to win the SEC title or whatever. I don't even care if they finish 4th and get the double bye or whatever, but good grief, man. Can we just do better than 8 and 10 or something?
dude. I'm with you on that. Because to me, I get like, yes, you get to the tournament, all bets are off, roll the dice, whatever happens. I'm about trying to position yourself to set yourself up for success. I'm not saying you got lucky, but you played Kansas. If you play another 7 seed, who knows? Maybe you don't beat them in the first round. So don't put yourself in a position to where you're just hoping and praying that, man, hopefully we get the worst 7 seed or whatever. Like, put yourself in a position to where you're the dominant team. You can be the team that is the 3 seed, the 4 seed, and you're set up for that success. Like, do that. Put yourself in a position instead of having to just battle uphill in the tournament and be like, hey, we'll rally the troops then. I want that. Because listen, I know all those years were fun. We make Elite Eights and everything, but guys, wasn't it so fun that first year when Arkansas went, what was it, 13-4 in the SEC? Wasn't that fun? I had fun that year. Yeah, like it was great. Granted, the postseason helped, but finishing second in the SEC was really good. That was fun. I think it was a 13-4. They went in Muss's first run because they didn't play A&M because of the whatever they had going on. And then the next year, I think they went 13-5, I believe.
Yeah, they were on the last Saturday of the regular season, still like alive for the regular season title. They lost that game to, I think, Tennessee, and they wound up 4th. Like you had a chance to be the outright champ or the co-champs or whatever in the SEC regular season. You lose one game, you wound up 4th. So
I want Arkansas to have a good enough regular season to where if a celebrity picks them to win the national title in March Madness, people don't look at it as like, whoa, R. Kelly picked Arkansas.
R. Kelly? All the ones.
Yeah, I'm sure he's filling out brackets.
Yeah, he's singing to himself while he's doing that in prison. Like, just get him out there. Golly, yeah. All right. If R. Kelly picks Arkansas to win the championship next year in his bracket,
my goal. That's all I want is R. Kelly to pick Arkansas.
Oh man, jeez. Before we get to your heavy hitters, another because that was a great question, by the way, Peaks. A good discussion there. Also, I guess this comes from Daryl. He says guys have to be on board for a guy like Fland to come back. Obviously, it was a tough sell to the guards who are currently on the team.
They didn't try to sell him. I mean, like they didn't pursue Boogie, according to national reporting. There, when he hit the portal, it was a wrap, and they were done with it. So
yeah, simple as that. Also, I want to bring this up real quick. Talia says, praying for y'all in Arkansas. We are dealing with weather here in Kentucky too. It's no fun. I don't know about you guys, but I'm about sick of this Florida nonsense. Well, I guess we can all agree in there. But Kentucky got nailed as well, man. It was really bad. And I know our friends, because they are friends at KSR, were really involved with helping out there. So yeah, praying for y'all as well. So just that time of year, man, it sucks. But we can hold hands in unison of, we're tired of Florida too, but can't happen. It shouldn't happen. I don't want Florida to win anymore. They've won baseball and basketball and everything. Stop winning. Gainesville sucks.
Had your fun.
Yeah, seriously. Let somebody else have fun for a change.
They're not going back to back. Well, when has Florida basketball ever gone back to back?
Yeah. And when's the last time any team's gone back to back?
Yeah, it never happens.
Come on. I don't even want to think about it or deal with it. But what we will do, though, is talk about our heavy hitters, thanks to our friends over at HD Roofing. Listen, we know that right now, speaking of storms, it's been pretty rough in the state of Arkansas. Not only across Northwest Arkansas, Western Arkansas, Central Arkansas, there's been a lot of storms that have come through and caused a lot of damage. And a lot of that damage has been done to roofs because that's what protects you from those storms. And if you have any damage to your roof, or if you're not even sure, but possible damage to your roof, have HD Roofing help you out with their free inspection. I know our guy Garrett's been busy like crazy. He's been up here today and doing all sorts of inspections. And they're going to be very busy, but they're going to make sure that they get you taken care of. So give them a call today. Get your roof inspected just to be safe, making sure that it's all good in case another storm hits. You don't want to be in that type of trouble. So give them a call today at 501-428-0429, or you can check out their website at hdarkansas.com. It is HD Roofing and Construction, talking our heavy hitters. So, all right, I want to go ahead and actually real quick, Dakota, I want to give him a shout out. He says, gave them a call this morning, needed a whole new roof. Awesome. So there you go. There's an endorsement for you. Glad you got it all taken care of, Dakota. I know you were dealing with some weather and some.
I was about to say, after looking at your social media, I I imagine you do need some work done over there. That was crazy, man.
Man, yeah, I guess scary stuff. So yeah, shout out to them. But heavy hitter wise, I wanted to do like we talked about him, but I want to play this video for when Aloy found out that he was SEC Player of the Year, because it's kind of cool. Actually, there's 2 videos. I may have to play them both. We'll see if we have time, because both of them are great. But this was a pretty cool thing of the moment that Dave Van Horn announced it for Wehiva Aloy.
Player of the Year!
One thing, all my teammates, coaches, could have done it without you guys. I feel like this team has gotten very close, and this is probably the best team I've ever been on growing up. And thank you for all the memories, and let's keep on going. Yes, There he go, bro. There he go, bro.
Just good wholesome stuff right there, folks. Just good wholesome stuff.
It's crazy that he's also such a good guy.
I know.
I'd have been like, congrats to me for carrying you bums all year again, and just
Yeah, he wanted no part of having to give a speech there. He was not thrilled about that. I always love when people will be like, "Oh, this is the best team I've ever played on." Well, yeah, I'd hope so. You played at Sacramento State and on a team that got bounced in the regional. I would hope this is the best team you've played on, brother. Like, or they'll be like, "Man, this is the best player I've ever played with." It's like, well, yeah, you're a freshman. You've never played with anybody good. Like, I would hope so. But no, that's good stuff, and it's good to see them all cheering him on.
Well, and also real quick, because I will play the other video real quick, because it is really good. But I do laugh, folks. If you ever want to just have nightmares of stuff of a noise entering into your brain, into your ear balls, do not stay after a Razorback game and stand next to all the kids wanting autographs the entire time. Just Aloy, because that dude is very to himself. Keeps it to himself. But man, all the kids just want to. I mean, they want autographs from everybody, but it's Aloy, man. It's Wehiva. He's got the hair. He's got the thing. But yeah, he's not the guy that I feel like is probably going to get the guys fired up in the pregame warmups. As far as a speech goes, he lets his play handle that part. But cool. Yeah. But I want to play this video. It's good. It's longer a little bit, but this was really well done. I think Razorback Baseball is the best social media of all the teams and all the programs on campus. I mean, this is great stuff. This was the announcement, and this comes from the narration of the parents of Wehiva Aloy.
Wehiva Aloy.
Dreams are the seeds of greatness. Never be afraid to dream big, to aim high, and to believe that you can accomplish things that seem impossible.
We have always been in the front row watching you grow and succeed in all aspects of your life.
Hard work is the foundation of anything worth achieving. Success rarely comes overnight. It is the result of dedication, perseverance, and a willingness to push through challenges, even when the path seems difficult.
We are extremely proud of all of your accomplishments and the person you have become. Continue to holo imo on your journey and know you are supported by so many.
Be kind, honest, and humble. Success is not just about what you achieve, but also about how you impact others and the world around you. Be generous with your time, your talents, and your love.
Mahalo ke ako for blessing you and being by your side.
We love you very much.
Me ke aloha pumehana.
I mean, come on now. Come on now. I you're not romantic about baseball, something like that. But really good job, though. That was cool. Like having the parents do the narration and the highlights and the music, all of that. That was great stuff. So heavy hitter for me, Aloy and the social media team there with the Aloy, videos and graphics and all that stuff. That was awesome.
Well, how are they going to one up it when he wins the Golden Spikes? I mean,
man,
what's next? That's pretty darn good.
Change the song background in the beginning and just haven't
Give
done
him
that. I don't
a
know.
minute to record.
Where does he fit in that conversation, Andrew? Like, does he have a legit shot at, or do you think he's?
Yeah, no, there's a legit shot. I mean, Florida State has a kid that's put up some pretty good numbers as well. North Carolina has a pitcher that's put up crazy numbers. There's not a clear cut guy. There's like 5 guys that are kind of all jumbled up in the same general echelon. Of course, him being a shortstop and being a damn good one helps. Honestly, I can't remember. They don't announce Golden Spikes until like late, like after the season, I'm pretty sure. So it would probably depend a little bit on how far Arkansas is able to go. If he's able to play 3 more weeks, rack up some home runs. And he's weird because he's like 5th or 6th in like every stat. Like he doesn't lead the country in anything, but he's like up there with all these guys in everything. And so it really is going to come down to the wire. I'd imagine Arkansas fans will help because obviously like there's some of it's fan voting. He has a legit shot. I just hope he gets to be one of the 3 finalists. And he's right at the cusp of that conversation for sure.
Very cool, man. It's awesome. Makes you feel good.
Get you in your feels. And also, get out and vote for him. I don't know.
Get out and vote, boys.
Get out and vote for Aloy, which I'm always wondered like how all that works as far as like how much of the like percentage is that voting of? Is it kind of like the NBA All-Star voting? I don't know.
I think it's like a third fan, a third media, and a third. Maybe not. Maybe it's 50-50. I really don't know. It's not 100% fan voting by any means.
No. Well, listen, if you win SEC Player of the Year, odds are you should at least be a finalist. If you're winning SEC Player of the Year, got to be at least a finalist. But we'll wait and see. But those are my heavy hitters. So what you guys got?
I like it. Well, and Andrew touched on it earlier, but it feels appropriate for one of us to have our heavy hitters just be, whether it's the storm chasers or like the weathermen, like anybody who's just constantly on call when situations arise, like we had, last night. That's first of all, if you're a storm chaser, that's risky, man. That's very dangerous. And but it's super helpful. I mean, for people to be able to identify that and relay those messages, and it just serves to help keep people a little bit more safe out there. And I was flipping back and forth between different channels, but I mean, all those guys, the meteorologists who are on there, you're just on go, and there's no commercial breaks, nothing. And like you're improvising in real time, and you're communicating with other people, and you've got your storm chasers who are out there checking on things, and you're checking with them, and like you're identifying paths and patterns, and you're doing a lot of science in real time and trying to convey that to people who need to understand where these things are headed and where the danger lies. And I don't know how many times I heard "get into your safe spot" last night. But I really appreciate that. I mean, it's and it's not just the guys who are on the news either. Like you mentioned, Zach, Andrew, there's so many talented people out there. And that all serves just a really, really good purpose. And, I had it turned on last night, and I'm super appreciative because honestly, like I sent you guys a little video, as the front started moving in, like I was just cooking dinner, man. I was chilling. And, but I had that on the background, and you could just kind of hear the tone in the voice change. And they were starting to mention Bomb Walker and School Street and, everything. I'm just like, dang, that's right by the crib. What's going on? And I looked outside and I was like, oh, yeah, me and the old wiener dog better head to the closet, man. This is crazy. But shout out to those guys for real, man. That's it's a really cool thing that they do. I'm fascinated by it, but it serves a great purpose in keeping everybody safe out there.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. And like, I think we weirdly have just so many people that are covering this. Every time there's a big thing, there's like 9 different storm chasers that are going live or doing something. Neither of y'all watched Twisters, did y'all?
Nah, I didn't watch it.
Didn't get around to it. Well, next tornado, we'll be sure to get that in. But I saw this in Twisters and thought it was fake. It's not. There's people that have these trucks that like they anchor into the ground. They add all these modifications to their trucks to where they're like they can stop and they can like basically anchor to the ground and are sturdy in these type of situations. And I saw Glenn Powell's character have it in Twisters, and I was like, oh man, that's cool. But like, obviously don't think that's something that happens in real life. There are people that do that. There are those storm chasers who have these souped up monster trucks that they're able to like, do all these crazy modifications in their garage. I don't know how they do it. But I kind of secretly want to do it with John's truck. We could get out there and figure it out. It'd be pretty cool.
I mean, listen, that's why I got it. I wanted to do storm chasing and get it taken in a tornado. Because if you remember from I haven't seen, I'll be honest, I haven't seen the new Twisters. Saw the original Twister, and both trucks they had got destroyed. So why not mine too? When it comes to that, I'm for it.
I think the truck survived in the new Twister, so that'll you'll feel better after watching that one for sure. It'll inspire you a little bit more. My heavy hitter is baseball related. So okay, you know how like obviously we all gamble, we all make our picks for stuff. We do kind of pick 'em stuff, and you know how like you pick a team, like you pick Vanderbilt to upset Alabama, and people kind of shame you for it, and then Vanderbilt plays them very close, and they don't win, but everyone's like, you know what, good pick. They kind of respect the pick. I kind of had that with Ryder Helfrich here. So I had 5 bold predictions. I did an episode of Bombastic before the season. I had 5 bold predictions, 2 of which are not going to happen. They're like already officially not going to happen. One of them was Zach Root to throw more innings than Hagen Smith, which, knock on wood, cross our fingers. He is on track to do that, which is cool. One was they would break the school record for home runs, which they have tied now. So I would assume, unless they just go homerless down the stretch here, they will break the school record for home runs, which is always cool. And the other one I had was Ryder Helfrich would be named to one of the all-SEC teams. And this seemed like a horrible pick for a lot of the year because everyone hated Ryder Helfrich and blah, blah, blah. He finishes the year on a tear, hits 337 in SEC play. And I thought, man, I'm going to steal this one out of nowhere. Ryder Helfrich's going to randomly be on second team all-SEC. He did not get the nut. He did not. And I was kind of like surprised. Not surprised. I didn't look at the resumes and everything, but I was just like, oh, man, like I thought I might have a chance. He hit 320 with 10 home runs as a catcher. Like, there's no way there's 2 catchers that did that. Turns out there were. Oklahoma's catcher hit like 321 with 14 home runs, caught every game in SEC play. All right, fair enough. You can be all SEC. Cool. Florida had a really good catcher as well, hit over 300, was really good defensively. Cool, whatever. But Ryder Helfrich, I feel like, was right there on that cusp, and maybe there will be one outlet that does 3 teams, and they'll name him. But I wanted to pat myself on the back for like an almost good pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I respect the hell out of that. I love those bold prediction things at the beginning of the year. This is somewhat similar to one of mine for basketball because I was like, hey, Carter Knox, SEC Freshman of the Year. And Kentucky fans in January were like pulling up, old stuff about it, like, oh, you dumbass, you idiot. And that's all fine. But then, the last month of the season, starting with what he did to Kentucky and then carrying it over in the NCAA tournament, was like, hey, it's just, just a 6 weeks or so off from him figuring it out. And it wasn't so crazy now, was it? But it feels good. Even sometimes when you don't nail the prediction right away, when people in the end can at least see the vision, and they saw your vision with Ryder Helfrich right there. That's good stuff.
That's what I like to see. And in my gambling career, I have way too many of those where it's like right pick just didn't work out. You still lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Good thought process.
Hey, listen, I think that's what we're maybe best at is our predictions of bold predictions. Because I'm going to take credit for my football one that should have almost been right, as Quinton Jackson having more rushing yards than Rocket Sanders. Yeah,
exactly like that. That's a great comparison. Honestly, this Inside Arkansas Live is the show of almost correct bold predictions.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So anytime we say one, just be like, oh man, okay, it's going to be cool to see how close y'all get.
This won't happen, but it will could make sense.
We have the show of record, and then now the state of Arkansas has the show of almost correct bold predictions.
Yeah. You tell me what you'd rather listen to.
Hey, we were within $5 million of our prediction, so close enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. All right, we'll do some checking some of your chats, as well as do some buy or sell action presented by our friends over at BetSaracen, the number 1 sports betting app in the state of Arkansas. All the different types of stuff, Arkansas specials for softball. They also have in-state teams, not just for the Razorbacks, but all the teams that are playing in baseball postseason, softball postseason, NBA playoffs, everything going on. Check it out at BetSaracen by downloading it on your iPhone or on your Android. And you can head over to BetSaracen.com and get to winning that way as well. So we'll get to some of your chats, but real quick, before we do that, we'll do a buy or sell. So just move through these few very quickly. But buy or sell that a top 4 seed will win the SEC tournament, baseball SEC tournament.
Buying that.
Yeah. I mean, they have the easiest path. I think one of those teams will go 3-0, and it'll be a pretty chalky SEC tournament is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I'm going to sell it because I want like stupid stuff to happen where like Texas A&M wins it all. Just for stupidity sake. I mean,
hell, dude, I actually don't think that's the craziest thing. Like, that would be actually cool if A&M starts making a run, because in a single elimination format, it's probably easier than ever.
Yeah, I would think so. But also, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but buy or sell that Wehiva Aloy will win the Golden Spikes.
I'm going to sell it just because there's so many good players and a lot of guys kind of in that mix. I think he'll be a finalist, but won't win, if I had to guess.
Me too. When does Arkansas get the benefit of the doubt? Something like that,
Yeah, I think it could be back-to-back years Arkansas has the runner-up, because I think Hagen Smith was a finalist, and I'm pretty sure, because I was stunned that Caglianone wasn't even a finalist last year.
Mhm.
I thought he should have won it. I think Hagen was a runner-up, so maybe Arkansas could go back-to-back years of the Darren McFadden.
Who won it last year?
Condone from Florida, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think I know how we're going to answer this one, but just got to ask anyways. Buy or sell that Razorback softball gets their first College World Series appearance this weekend.
Buying that, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go. It's time.
Y'all think they're going to have to go to a rubber match this weekend?
Yes.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be easy. Yeah.
Win game 1, lose game 2, win game 3. That's where I'm going.
Do not let Ole Miss have something over you. They got too much confidence in their entire athletic department right now, man. Like everything's not bad over there. So don't let them get there before you. Don't let that happen. So also, just as a random one, and I probably didn't word it right, but we'll explain it. It says buy or sell baseball should have rules about throwing to first base. Basically basing off the Tennessee thing where they just kept throwing to first base constantly. Should there be any sort of thing that should be put into place and addressing this, fixing it, or is it just something you're going to have to deal with in baseball?
I kind of lean toward it being something you just kind of have to deal with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although I don't know. The pitch clock made an uptick in stolen bases.
Right.
Maybe if you're just like, hey, you can only throw over once per at bat.
But I almost don't feel like you can do that, because if somebody throws over once, then for the rest of the at bat, I know he can't do it. So I'm not worried about getting an extra lead, and so I guess I'd sell it. But it is freaking annoying, man. So.
Yeah.
It's definitely annoying, and I really don't know if there's a solution to it other than just get smaller leads.
Yeah, that's kind of what the point of it was, because I know people talked about it. I'm like, I just don't know what you could realistically do unless you just took away stealing bases and leadoffs, which is not going to happen. So it's just, you just got to deal with it. It's just something you're going to have to deal with. All of us are going to have to deal with. So that's just part of it. But either way, there's your buy or sell action. Let's get to some of your chats, folks. I know a lot of you have been chiming in on some random things there as well. I like this from Hickory Hawk real quick. He talked about when we were doing the Aloy video, and they saying, what if happens when he wins the Golden Spikes? Says they'll have The Rock narrate the Golden Spikes video. I was actually going to be my question of who would be the most famous Hawaiian that could narrate that video? What celebrity?
My pick would be Max Holloway, the UFC fighter. He would be a good one, which, by the way, I know for a fact the Aloys are fans of. Who's another popular Hawaiian? Colt Brennan, God rest his soul.
Well, yeah, I don't think he can narrate the video anymore.
There's
got to be more than this.
Stitch.
Yeah.
Who?
Lilo Stitch is coming out this weekend. Get Stitch to narrate.
That's the move, dude.
Oh.
Did you see Stitch taking the movie tickets, like tearing the tickets at the theater?
I didn't. I saw him spilling popcorn. I've seen him acting, causing all kinds of trouble.
Stitch is electric, bro.
Yeah. How about Nicole Kidman? You have her narrate it. Apparently, she was born in Hawaii.
I know that.
I got this. Barack Obama.
Is he born in Hawaii?
That's according to the wikis.
Let me be clear.
Yeah.
Wehiva Aloy is the Golden Spikes winner.
I'm sure that wouldn't cause any controversy for Razorback fans. Also, you got to remember Nicole Scherzinger.
That's a pretty good Obama, by the way.
You like to let me be clear?
Yeah. She was also born in Hawaii, so you got options. You got a lot of options here.
Overflowing with celebrities from Hawaii, man.
Oh man. Let's see. Also, Finch said, "I thought it was hilarious when Slim let out just the tiniest bark in this morning's podcast." Curtis,
it's so funny, man. I didn't know if that made it onto the microphone or not, but I we were between tornado warnings last night, and I was like, I'm just gonna try to record this thing now and hope for the best. And right as I was getting started, it was just like Slim is laying in the floor like he is right now, knocked out, and there was just a clap of thunder, and he jumped like off the ground and just let out one of those, and that was a wrap. And so I meant to go back and listen, and I forgot about it by the time I finished recording and everything. But good to hear that his voice was heard on the pod. So he too is upset about Boogie Fland going to Florida. So
I bet he was. I'd be pissed if I was him. Hickory Hog also says, buy or sell, A-Cuff gets drafted higher than Boogie. Ooh,
it's a great question.
Great one.
I bet that they're going to be fairly close where they wind up there. There's a very realistic world where they're both lottery picks, honestly, next year. The one updated 2026 mock draft that I could find since Boogie announced that he was going back to college has both of them as first round picks, but Boogie going a little bit higher. It actually had Boogie going 8th, which seems a little bit high to me. And then I think Darius is like in the 20s or something, but another 2026 mock that I saw that hasn't been updated, so like Boogie's not in it because he was expected to be in the other draft, had Darius at 11th there in the lottery. So I bet it's going to wind up being pretty close. I don't remember which way that went, but I might say Boogie goes higher than A-Cuff does. Not because A-Cuff's not going to go high, but I really do like the fit for Boogie at Florida. He's just got unlimited amounts of 7-footers to throw lobs to. The spacing is going to be really good. The system's kind of conducive to what he does. I think he might wind up having a kind of a monster year. And Todd Golden won't let him shoot those pull-up contested 17-footers. So you don't do that there with those analytics guys. So he might be more efficient as well.
Or do you think he's gonna be in the Walter Clayton role and just stink at it, and then people be like, "Huh, interesting. Maybe this 37-year-old from last year is better." No, I'm gonna lean A-Cuff, and really now Boogie is very young. Like he's a sophomore in college, but like, wait, is he even gonna be 19 next year for the draft? Like I don't know if his age is gonna be a huge thing, but we know the NBA draft, they love the young guys. And I'm sure A-Cuff's like 4 months younger than Boogie I don't know what their birthdays are, but I'm gonna go with A-Cuff. I'm gonna go with A-Cuff. Yeah. I think he's got a chance.
I would too. I just would like to know. I'm sure there's an answer to this, but like, when was the last time that you had a true freshman that could have been a first round borderline pick or whatever, chose to come back to school and then got drafted into the lottery the next year? You know, like where they jumped like that much significantly. Maybe it's happened, but just doesn't seem as likely. But
the thing with Boogie that I think he's going to have to show NBA teams this next year, which by the way I think he can show. I think he needs to finish at the rim at like a way higher rate. He's obviously a very good lateral athlete, not the most explosive vertical athlete, and he's fairly undersized for that position. I think if he goes to Florida and he finishes at the rim really well and is a little bit more efficient as a shooter, you know, he checks a lot of boxes. I think that'll clear up some concerns. But I think if he struggles at the rim at Florida, he's going to be like he's a little bit of an interesting draft prospect where I think that could create some questions for him if he struggles at the rim again.
Also,
I'll leave my Darius A-Cuff scouting report alone for now, because people aren't going to want to hear where his deficiencies lie.
Oh, now that's a tease, folks. If you've ever heard one, that is a good tease. Jacoda also says, did you guys see that Tennessee may be moving to Adidas? I did not see this, but if that's the case, that's tough. Nothing against the fine company of Adidas, but it's Nike, man. Like Nike just means more. You know, you got to have Nike to go from Nike to Adidas. Arkansas did that once, wasn't great. They went back to Nike as soon as possible. So I did not see that though.
They're gonna be wearing those Yeezys.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe. Well, here's the deal. Like, because isn't it Texas A&M that's Adidas?
Are they still Adidas? I really don't know.
They just always had the most horrendous uniforms for
Mississippi
basketball.
State is Adidas.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I just feel like maybe not in all sports, but man, basketball Adidas is just disgusting uniforms. They're always gross looking. So, not that Tennessee cares.
A&M is Adidas. Now to think about it, they are Adidas.
Okay. Yeah,
y'all remember those soccer uniforms they rolled out?
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Just what was happening here? Like, what are we doing? Come on. That's why Buzz Williams left. He saw those uniforms. He's like, I ain't doing this trash.
He's like, let me go to Under Armour instead.
Yeah. And our guy Logan's over here saying $200 million for 7 years. Well, in that case, maybe Adidas isn't so bad after all. That's the deal that they're signing. That's pretty impressive. Let's see. Finch also says, "Hey, Curtis and Michelle, when are y'all just going to tell everybody you're going to going with my name nomination of Lawson Flex Wilkerson? It's hidden."
We're never telling anybody the name.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to wait on it. In fact, it'll just go nameless. It'll be like either like the Prince icon. It's just gonna have a symbol instead of a name, or it'll be like Elon Musk's kid that have like, E equals MC squared or whatever. So I'm gonna go with that, whatever that ends up being. Also, Jeff is over here saying, "I think it is good for both parties that he goes to Florida. All we can do is hope he finds success and that he didn't get at Arkansas." Okay. I like he was decent enough.
I'm trying to think of a way how this is good for Arkansas, but anyway.
Yeah.
I guess
it's definitely good for Florida.
The case would just be that Arkansas really found their rhythm. They found their team chemistry, and he secretly was actually holding them back. And it is a direct correlation as to when Arkansas turned their season around.
Yeah.
Hopefully one of those guards, pulls a hamstring this year, and that's when the team figures it out in his absence.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be some poetic justice right there? Also, somebody was talking about, I remember, Jeff was like, I remember when Arkansas was Apex, that was horrible. Which, by the way, guys, what would be like the worst if Arkansas was like, we're going to this? Like, what would be the worst? Would it be Adidas? Would it Under Armour be worse? Like,
I think Adidas is worse than Under Armour. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe if they were just like Puma or something.
The first New Balance school.
Dude, I love my New Balances. I'm going to be that old guy. I love my New Balance. Maybe Asics or whatever those old people stuff are. Feelus, is that what it is? Feelus?
Yeah, they're cooking.
Maybe Acuff can talk them into being a Reebok team.
Ooh,
I was thinking Reebok. Arkansas was Reebok at one point.
Yep.
We could go back to Reebok. There's a relationship there.
Yep. Guys, and I know that it won't ever happen, but like Bids for me says, could we be an Air Jordan school? It'd be pretty sweet if that ever happened.
That would be cool.
I mean, hey, you know who's a Jordan athlete now? Boogie Fland.
That's right.
At Florida.
Yeah, I think it's like Michigan, Florida, North Carolina, like just kind of like some random schools that are Jordans. So that'd be pretty cool though. That would be pretty cool. So, also a shout out to Corey Dubs. Want to mention this? He gifted a 5 Inside Arkansas membership. So thank you for to giving your memberships to other people for that. But mention it on social media. But just as a reminder, folks, for our membership program, it's not something that you have to do. We don't want you to feel like you're obliged to do it. But if you get on YouTube, it's $4.99 a month. Basically what it is that each month, it's a way to support us and, show your appreciation, but also it's a way for us to have some fun with our exclusive live streams for our members. Well, there'll be some giveaways and cool stuff like that each month. So, but yeah, appreciate it. And again, don't have to do it, but if you would like to do it, you may do so. So, all right. Well, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
No, I don't think I have anything profound.
Yeah, I don't know if I have anything profound either, but I'm happy to do this show. I'm glad we were able to do this, and I think we all were on the same page where neither of us were in a great mood when we started this show, and we're all kind of in a better mood now, or at least I am. And I hope y'all have a great day. I hope that we all get to stay safe. I'm seeing the sun now. I'm seeing the clouds are opening up, man. It's a beautiful oasis out there. Huge interview with Chris Lanzilli about to be recorded at the Bombastic Podcast. So everybody tune into that later tonight.
That'll be awesome. Yeah. So be sure to subscribe to everything that we have going on at Inside Arkansas. You can go on our YouTube page and subscribe. You can also check us out on our website, InsideArkansas.com, and you can listen to our podcast wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, or the Bombastic Podcast. You can find it there as well. So that'll do it for us today, folks. For Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.